It was exactly 1 year ago today, March 11th, 2020, that the World Health Organization officially declared COVID-19 a global pandemic. That was the beginning of a year of intense loss, confusing advice, and at times, fear. It was also a year of resilience and creativity as people around the world figured out ways to get through it all. Stephen Fabian has a look back.
It's the day the world changed forever. Exactly 1 year ago, March 11th, 2020. This is how Deborah reported the fateful news.
A sobering announcement today from the World Health Organization. The coronavirus has now officially been declared a global pandemic.
On that March 11th show, we spoke to one of America's earliest COVID-19 victims, former cop Clay Bentley.
I got viral pneumonia in both my lungs.
He recovered fine. This is Bentley now.
We got a lot to be thankful for.
Who could have known back then that the phenomenon of a talk show without a live audience would continue to this day?
We made the decision not to have a studio audience, and this is unprecedented.
The global coronavirus death toll at that point was 4,291. Today, it's more than 2.6 million. Also on that March day, Tom Hanks and wife Rita Wilson revealed they had tested positive in Australia. They recovered, and Tom bounced back to host Saturday Night Live from home.
Now, I was diagnosed back in March with the coronavirus.
Back then, Americans were just getting to know this public health physician, Dr. Anthony Fauci.
This is a really serious problem that we have to take seriously.
Dr. Fauci reflected on the pandemic today.
At a congressional hearing, I made the statement, things are going to get much worse before they get better. But I did not in my mind think that much worse was going to be 525,000 deaths.
I was on a flight to New York that day. My fellow passengers were disinfecting surfaces. 1 year later, it's hard to believe how much the nation has changed since that historic day. Masks are now part of everyday life. In most states, the idea of dining out at a crowded restaurant indoors is a dim memory. And who shakes hands anymore? Only time will tell whether it ever comes back. For a handful of companies, the pandemic has resulted in boom times.
Zoom, huge beneficiary from the pandemic because that's where everybody was communicating. That's how business meetings were conducted. That is how friends socialized. That's how families got together.
But for other industries like restaurants and transportation, it's been a year of pain.
People weren't traveling as much, especially business travelers. That just completely went off a cliff.
And then there is the relentless human toll that can't be measured in dollars and cents. COVID patient Greg Garfield was put on a ventilator and given a 1% chance to live after sepsis set in. But listen to those cheers as he walked out after 64 days in the hospital. He lost most of his fingers.
They created as long of fingers as they could.
Now, after this most horrible of years, we at least have hope. Science has delivered a miracle, a vaccine. With a little luck and discipline, it looks as if the sun will come out tomorrow.
One estimate puts the total economic cost of COVID here in the United States at more than $16 trillion. Tonight, in his first primetime speech, President Biden will detail the path forward and what he calls the next phase of the COVID response.